Welcome, everybody, to the Black Belt Barber Podcast, the first and only podcast about entrepreneurship for barbers and professional from our beauty industry. I'm Tico, I'm your host, and today I have a special guest, Mr. Greg, the Backpack Barber. He has a foundation, he has his own line of product, his own shop. It's really good to have you here, brother, and to see that you exploring all branches and lines within our industry to be who you are today. Mr. Greg, can you share who you are? Can you share a little bit of your story? We were talking outside a little bit. I kind of feel like related to your journey. So who's Greg? What is the Backpack Barber Foundation? Start with your story.
Hey, thanks for having me today. It's a pleasure and an honor being here. Beautiful studio you guys have. My name's Greg Young, known as Greg the Backpack Barber.
Actually, you are well known.
I appreciate that. My story is a little up and down. I originally was born in Florida, Jacksonville. My father was stationed in the military. We moved back to where my mother was originally from, which is the Delaware, Philadelphia area, the Northeast. My parents had separated at that time. I was 1 year old. We lived up there for a little while, and there was a lot of uncertainty growing up as a kid. There was a lot of evictions. We were moved around a lot. I didn't meet my father till I was that I can recall remembering who he was as a man till I was 9 years old, 9 years old, when we moved back to Florida. At that time, he was stationed in the military still in Key West, Florida. One of the best times of my life. 9 years old, playing on the sand, palm trees, paradise. Everybody's on rollerblades, early 90s. I want to say it was right after Hurricane Andrew. I remember seeing a lot of debris driving down with my father from Delaware in a U-Haul and asking questions and him explaining to me what a hurricane was and what had happened. Great time. We moved to Broward County, I want to say 95. He retired. We lived there roughly 2.5 years. He retired. At this time, it was a little weird for me as a young kid because I was seeing my mother act in a manner I've never seen her before. She was like a total different person. And as I got older, I realized it was because my father was around. That marriage didn't last long. I want to say 2 years after that, they separated again. And then we were back to getting evicted everywhere we lived. Didn't last long. I come from a very broken home, addiction, abuse. I've seen a lot of street activity, things in and out of the house. And that's what made me say that when we moved to Florida with my father, it was very weird because, like, my mother was a total different person. Like, she was a classy woman, and I've never seen that from her side. But like I said, that didn't last long. By the time I hit 7th grade, I was already, I was smoking weed, I was abusing drugs, and I was a lost soul. I didn't know who to turn to, who to talk to for advice. I didn't love myself. I didn't understand life. I didn't know where I was going, who I was going to be. I didn't understand anything that was going on. Throughout those years of growing up, leading to 7th grade, I was Baker acted 3 different times, put on different medications. And I just didn't understand things. I didn't understand why my mother would treat me the way she did, why things were happening to me. I rebelled against my father because he was a older African-American man from the projects in New York, Queensbridge Projects, who joined the military because there was nothing in New York for him. And I'm looking at him and him ordering me to do things. And I was very, like, against that because, like, where have you been? Like, things have happened to me, and who are you? Like, I'm not going to listen to you. And it just led to, a lot of animosity, resentment, a lot of hatred because I didn't understand, and I didn't want to listen to him. We didn't get along. And then just furthering on, getting to high school, I don't know how I got to high school. I was suspended. I was arrested and placed into a program, summer school of 8th grade. It was a place my parents put me. It was called Lippman Youth Shelter. It was out here in Oakland Park, Florida. And when I got out of that program, I was in high school. I don't know how, because I don't recall 8th grade going well at all. That's where it really went downhill. My parents completely split for the last time, and I had to fend for myself somewhat because my mother never really lived for her children. It was always for herself, so I had to find my way. I had to understand certain things that, like, hey, if I don't hustle, if I don't do this, I'm going to be hungry. I'm not going to have things that I need. We were living in Coral Springs, Florida at this time. This was around 98. And, you know, I was very ashamed and embarrassed because I never had any of the nice things that a lot of the kids did growing up. Everybody had like the new clothes, the polo T-shirts, the nice shoes. Yeah, the video games, the nice clothes. The average 16-year-old had a brand new car, and dude, I'm selling nickel and dime bags of marijuana pot, trying to get some money to buy myself a pair of shoes and this and that. So, you know, I would show up at parties or the movie theater, and I would just feel a little out of place because I didn't have what everybody else had. And that's really when a time started to turn in my life where I started to feel aggression really taking over in my personality, because I felt judged by so many, where I started to become, that's when I started to develop that thuggish mentality. You know, I was quick to pop off. I was quick to fight, swing, do all that foolish stuff that you do as a kid, but I took it to the next level, which started to get me in a lot of trouble. Violence became a part of my lifestyle then. At that point, you know, I was working at a warehouse that was on Powerline in Cypress Creek at the time. I'm 15. I dropped out of high school. I'm living with my mother in Coral Springs, and she didn't care that I dropped out of high school. So I start working at a place called Leverage Furniture Showroom. Now, what it is they were tearing that business down. So I was working for the labor pool that was contracted on that job. At that time, I realized, all right, excuse my wording on this, but I want to be direct and transparent. There was a lot of crackheads on the job site. And that's when I realized, oh, man, there's a lot of money here. I learned how to cook crack cocaine at 15 years old. I had a neighbor that lived next to the building where I lived with my mother and my brother, who was from Chicago. They called him Don Mecca. He taught me how to cook crack cocaine at 15. I started selling $5 slabs at this labor job while also getting $10 an hour working, tearing down the steel and just doing labor work inside the warehouse, prepping it for another business that was going to come in. I believe it was a tile. I think it's still there now. It's a tile showroom, full warehouse. But that's when I really started to experience with the streets more, because now I started to realize where the real money was at. I was becoming very aggressive. I hated my life. I didn't love myself. I didn't understand why I was dealt the cards I was dealt. I was constantly in and out of trouble. And now I am selling crack cocaine. And I was giving my mother a large amount of money. And where we were living in this community in Coral Springs. It's called Glenwood Gardens. It was actually a police substation in our building where we lived. And they rode around on bicycles and stuff. You know, there was a lot of gang activity and drugs. It was that part of Coral Springs where they were really trying to improve. I would cut the grass and do maintenance landscape for the owner of the property. And one afternoon I walked in to get my paycheck, and the gentleman asked me, what happened, what's going on with your mother? And I said, what do you mean? He says, you haven't paid rent in 2 months. My mother kept all the money at that time and disclosed to me that she was moving and I wasn't going with her. And at this time, I just turned 16. I'm full of rage and anger because I've been hustling. I've been really putting in work. Not all of it has been good. I've been putting my life on the line at times to make money, and she's leaving me. And I had no relationship with my father. I did not like him. I didn't approve of him. I felt at that time everything I did was a judgment by him. And like I said before, it was a lot of resentment because I didn't understand where he was at while I was living those 8 years in the Philadelphia, Delaware area. And those were some of the worst times of my life. And that's the first time I found myself homeless. I was 16. I think it was 2001, end of 2000. And I found myself living in abandoned houses over there. The first week that she vacated that property, I was still sneaking back in through climbing a tree up through the backyard into the second-story window. But it was completely empty. I'm talking literally all the way down to showering with no shower curtain, nothing. And I found myself really in a stage of depression. I wanted to die. Then I started living in abandoned houses around the way until the bicycle unit, the police bike unit, found me and told me, look, you better stop doing this. We know you're doing it. And then I bounced around from hotels, people's couches. I'm still experimenting with drugs, weed, and crack, trying to make money. I have bad habits. I like to smoke a lot of weed back then. I'm 16 years old. I don't know what I'm doing with my money. I'm not a financial expert. I'm blowing money here. I'm losing money here. I ended up moving to my father's house, and he lived on the other side of Coral Springs. At that time, I can give my father some credit and thank him because it was probably about 2 years that he really tried to instill something in me, but I was just too far gone my way. I thought I knew everything. He tried to get me to get my GED, tried to encourage me to do something, join the military, get a trade, do something. He told me I was going to die before I'm 20 years old. I'm going to end up incarcerated. My life's not going well. He kept trying to talk to me about it, and it didn't work. 2 days before my 18th birthday, I was selling crack again, and the gentleman that I served to earlier in the evening came back and tried to stab me. I backed up. I hit him with a right hook. He fell down. He cracked his skull on the concrete. I panicked. I ran. The gentleman that I was with me ran. 2 days later, we were walking through the neighborhood, and the helicopter, like Broward Sheriff and Coral Springs, they completely barricaded me into a community, and they arrested me and charged me with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. And this was my first adult charge. I had no experience. I had no understanding of anything. I just knew I was going to the pen with grown men, and that was a journey. I wasn't scared to go there, but I wasn't happy to go there. I was always a hothead, so I knew I would carry my own weight. I knew how to fight growing up. I got my ass whooped first day in jail, let's be honest, put it that way. I learned real quick. I adapted, and I didn't let that happen again. I handled my business. The problem was I had no representation, so I was getting railroaded by the state, the prosecutors. I got out a month. They lessened the charges, but they put me on all types of stipulations with probation. And at that time, I was developing a lot of bad habits. I was smoking a lot of weed. I was trying to get rid of the pain of things that I felt growing up, things that I went through that I just did not understand. And it just led me right back in jail, violation of probation, dirty urine. Once again, I got no lawyers. I got nothing. I'm not being advised on anything. I serve about 40-something days, 50 days in jail. I get out. They dropped it to a misdemeanor charge, misdemeanor battery. But come to find out, the guy had staples all in his head, and I seen him. And I was told that I hit him with a pipe, which to this day I would deny that because it did not happen in that form. That's the past. Moved on, but it didn't stop there. The intoxication, me becoming under the influence of drugs and alcohol, a lot of alcohol caused me to do a lot of harm to my life. I ended up getting into a fight with an officer. I got charged with battery on a Leo. I'm lucky I wasn't shot, murdered. And that one was a felony that they weren't reducing. So I sat in jail for about 3 months. Got out with probation, large probation, all these stipulations that now when I look back at it, I could have told you that guy, Greg Young, he's going to fail that. He's not going to succeed with those stipulations put in place. He doesn't have enough discipline. Self-discipline, he's lacking. And respect. And I had no respect for others. I did not respect life. I didn't understand life. I was just trying to numb my pain and just thinking I was a thug. And I ended up violating with a dirty urine in 2005. In February, they locked me up. I was incarcerated the whole year. I got out right after Hurricane Wilma. Hurricane Wilma hit here. The judge signed the orders. Anybody under 90 days left, they'd be released early because they were just flooding with a lot of crime happening in the street. The jails were just overpopulating. I got out, and I was 21 years old now. I turned 21 in jail in downtown Fort Lauderdale, looking out the little window in misery, hating life. I got out, and the first thing I did was I called a friend that was picking up scrap and aluminum. We grabbed a U-Haul. We went around and started cleaning up, making money. I'm fresh out of jail. I have nothing going for me. I'm living in some trailer home with some friends, and I got enough money, and I went straight to a bar, and I just thought it was the coolest thing to sit at a bar and say, I'm legal, you can pour me a drink. And it just led to one thing after the other over the course of the years, just continually abusing alcohol and cocaine and getting incarcerated one after the other. I've been arrested a total of 15 times. I ended up going to barber school after working in the culinary business for a while. It was something that I was passionate about right away. I knew. I just knew because I love the idea of creating something from nothing and putting a smile on someone's face.
But before we go further, you were sharing with me about the culinary. You were cooking, right?
Yeah.
So share more. I need to.
When I got out of jail in 2005, after mingling around, scrapping aluminum, cleaning up the hurricane damage, my older brother was a AKM, assistant kitchen manager at a Carrabba's restaurant in Coral Springs. He brought me on, and I quickly adapted really quick. I've always been a very hyperactive, very I go hard at everything I do type personality. So I quickly just ran up the line and was working multiple stations. And that gave me a little bit of structure because now I'm no longer in the street life selling dope or doing any of that. Selling weed here and there, and I started bouncing around the culinary industry. I'm sure you know, you usually never work one job. I ended up at Cheesecake Factory in 2009 in Boca Raton. I met some of the greatest people I've met in my life still to this day. Some of them don't know, but some of the most influential, people that inspire me, people that showed passion that I seen and worked with there. To this day, I still think very highly of them. I ended up getting a DUI working there. And now I'm in barber school at the time. And I lost my transportation. The woman I was dating with, we started to have a fallout. Now I'm taking buses to get to work sometimes and to school when she's not able to take me. And I end up transferring from Boca to Fort Lauderdale. Best decision I made in my life.
You meant transferring
one of the best.
The barber school, right?
No, so I transferred the restaurant job from Cheesecake Factory to from Boca Raton location to Las Olas. Now, let me rewind real quick. I'm sorry. Previous Cheesecake Factory, I was at Dwayne Wade Sports Bar and Grill in Fort Lauderdale when Dwayne Wade had a restaurant. Didn't last long. There was a lot of things that went wrong on the business side with them, I'm still not understanding of, but very disappointed that it didn't go because we were getting that kitchen up and rolling. It was going good. But then that's when I got into Cheesecake Factory. Now, at that time, when I transferred from the Boca Town Center Mall location to Cheesecake Factory on Las Olas, it's still, to this day, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life other than getting sober, because I met my wife there. And I've learned so much through my wife. Like, I can't sit here and lie. I'm not going to try to talk her up. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I've learned from class to being a man, just in general, things that I learned from my wife, because my wife was sheltered growing up. My wife grew up in a great family. I didn't have an ounce of that. I didn't understand those things. But later on, I learned it. I worked there for a little while, and then I quit. And then I stopped talking to my wife, who was my girl, was a chick I was, messing around with at the time. And me and the chick that I was living with was already, like, pretty much on our way out. I found out that she was cheating on me. That's when I started to connect with my wife at the time. Well, my wife now, but then wasn't. And I said, you know what? I'm licensed now. I'm going to go get what I want. And I quit, and I started working at Hall of Fame Barbershop on Sample and Riverside Drive. I did that for about a month and a half. I got myself in an incident over there. I got into a fight with a couple guys. One of the guys, his buddy worked at the shop. They jumped me in front of the shop, and I wasn't too happy on that. And that led me to going home. At the time, I was in a really bad space. I was living in a one-bedroom apartment. I was very close to being evicted from there, and I wanted to hold my word for once in my life. The apartment I was living in was the girl that I was dating in previous. It was in her name, and I didn't want to ruin her credit. I didn't want to ruin her name. I loved her family very much. Her mother was a very sweet woman, always treated me very fair, and her brothers I loved a lot. I still talk to them today. I got on Craigslist and I started looking for jobs, and I seen a barbershop in Fort Lauderdale called Joe's Barbershop. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No, I'm
Brazilian
not.
family owned.
Oh, yeah?
I walked in there and I told the father, who unfortunately I just found out that he passed a few months ago. R.I.P. to him. He really helped mold me who I am today. I explained to them my situation. That I don't have much. I don't know much, but I'll do whatever you tell me to do. You can mold me into the barber that you need me to be. Your shop is like the spot I want to work at. I've heard nothing but great things. You guys are busy, and I want to change my life. Started working there for a little while, and I started having situations again occurring. And what caused it? The use and abuse of alcohol. I found myself fighting downtown, getting beat up or beating up somebody, and just leading myself down that same path I've been leading myself down for all these years, destruction. I reconnected with the chick from Cheesecake Factory, who's my wife now, at a house party. She had a 3-month-old son who his father walked out on, and I couldn't just turn my back on this woman and her son. I fell in love with him right away. We started hanging every day after work. I'm still abusing, drinking, situations still occurring, and now I realize she has the same problem. She's an alcoholic like myself. She takes me to my first Alcoholics Anonymous meeting outside of jail, and I don't know why. I didn't realize this until I got sober, but I've done programs in jail. Why didn't I get out and go do what they told me and go find a home group where I can work and connect with individuals that share the same problem that I have? I don't know why. It was a fog in my mind. It just didn't let me. And that's the power of this disease. it wants you dead or in jail. It doesn't.
You're kind of blind, right?
Yeah, you're blind. It doesn't want you to beat it. It wants you dead or in jail. It doesn't care. Or it's. I couldn't remember all those years. I'm like, wow. I just was just out here risking my life every day and every night, partying like that, getting into trouble, committing crimes, in and out of jail, calling home from jail, calling my father, asking him to bomb me out.
Can I ask you a quick question? So during the time you were in jail, you were sober, right? And you spent it over a year in jail.
Yeah.
You were completely clean or no? You're still using drugs in jail?
No, I was clean in jail. I've never used a drug in jail.
Okay. But then when you were free again, you went back to the old habits, right? Because if you were clean for a year, I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just saying that
I know.
You're clean. You could not go back to alcohol and drugs. The whole lifestyle that you're involved and the difficulties.
I missed it. So then when I got out, I chased it again. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And I never understood the power of clarity. I was in jail. I never got real good clarity. In jail, you're not just, you're on the edge. You know, you got to watch out for guys in there that are trying to keep back your time up. You know, anybody knows that you're getting ready to go home, they're going to try to cause a situation with you where you're going to get in more trouble while you're in there, possibly added charges now you don't come home. Not only that, it's jail. Who do you trust in jail? So my mind was never really in the right place while I was in jail. I was just sober. And then I was missing what was going on in the outs the whole time I was in jail. So I was just thinking about it, what I'm going to do, who I'm going to go see, how I'm going to handle things. You know, and I was very young, immature. The mentality was just that street mentality, because that's the life I lived for many years. You know, I robbed a lot of guys in the street. Like, that was my mentality. If I didn't have what I wanted, I would go get it. And I didn't care what it took. I remember walking in through the jail with one of the COs, and they could not bring me into the unit they were trying to put me in because all you seen was a bunch of dudes from the city. That's the white boy we're talking about. That's that white boy we're talking about. And it was really serious because those were the dudes I robbed during my time of very hardcore active addiction. And man, am I great to I don't have to ever feel like that ever again. That's the best feeling about all this. Anyways, my wife walked me into my first Alcoholics Anonymous meeting outside of jail at the 12-Step Sober House on State Road 84, downtown Fort Lauderdale. And I was like, wow, I started to understand some things. And I got sober for close to a year, and I relapsed. Now, during that time when I relapsed, I had, from when I got the DUI back in 2009, I couldn't get a driver's license for 5 years. This was the second time they took it for 5 years from me. So how do you get a car without a driver's license? On top of that, they wanted me to install a breathalyzer machine in my vehicle, but how do I install that in my vehicle if I can't buy a vehicle without a driver's license? I had to call my father and say, Pop, I got $5,000 cash. I want to buy this car off this lot, but I can't register it. Can you register it? I'll leave it in front of my house, and I have 2 weeks until my appointment to install the machine. Once they install the machine, we go right to the DMV from that building, and they give me my driver's license. That vehicle didn't sit for 2 weeks. I ended up blacking out drunk after like 11 and a half months sober, and I don't recall it, and I crashed that vehicle. I almost went to jail that night. You know, I got in some citations, and things worked itself out. Things worked itself out so good, I haven't had a drink or a drug since that day, and that was July 7, 2013. When I ran back to the home where I was staying at, because it happened right around the corner from my building, my home, the house I had my wife today and my son, I was covered in blood. I seen the terror, the fear on my son's face, and he was probably 14 months old, 15 months old. It shattered my heart because here I am not only letting him down He's a baby. I'm letting her down. I'm letting her parents down, and I'm letting my father down when he tried to help me. And I don't have that close of a relationship with him. For him to do that was meaning, it meant something to me. It meant a lot. And that day was just, that was rock bottom, man. I walked into another AA meeting with her, and they told me to shut the fuck up and do what's told, and I will never have to live like this again. And I took it serious. And when I took it serious enough, I started to develop enough clarity and understanding of who I am as a person and life on life's terms. I started to feel like loving of myself. I started to impact myself with self-discipline. And I feel you can't love yourself if you're not willing to discipline yourself, if you're not willing to implement certain things that are going to make you a better person, that are going to make you understand other people's feelings. Because that was one of the tough things for me. I was very hot-headed. I was quick to be like, let's go, whatever. I never understood why. And I got sober, and I was like, wow, man, this isn't how you're supposed to live. I'm not a thug, man. This is not life.
So how everything started? Being a barber from that on?
That helped my career a lot. Getting sober.
So you were working at the
Joe's Barbershop
at the time?
Yes, and the father of that business, this is a Brazilian family barbershop. I can't thank them enough to this day. Me and the son still to this day do not speak. We had a huge fallout. His father was sober all these years. And when I told him, hey, I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous every morning before I come to work, I go to this meeting at 7 a.m. because I want to survive. He gave me a big hug, and he shared his testimony with me, which I had no idea. And he was sober for like 30-something years. And he always, I felt like I was like a stepson to him. He really loved me, and I knew that. He shared things with me. He did things with me. He gave me the key to his business and asked me to open his shop when his son was running late. He knew I was the barber that would get up out of my seat and go unload his truck instead of watching him carry it up and down the hall of sodas and restock in the barbershop with the materials they need. I couldn't sit there and watch that. I got up and I helped because I was grateful and very thankful to be under his supervision of becoming a barber. Like, the tools and the things that he did, that he showed, that he led by example on, I still use to this day, and it's made me so much more successful. I just, once again, it's sad to know that he's passed. And there was a huge fallout with his son, which caused me to leave. But I'm very grateful and thankful for the time I did have at his barbershop with him and his son, because it's taught me the things and the knowledge and insight that I use today that's helped my brand flourish. And I'm able to do the same thing for other people that come, apprentices and stuff that come in my life.
You worked to other shops before you opened your own?
So when I left his shop, I worked at another shop for about a month and a half until my shop was open. I had to do some construction to it. And we opened in 2016. I convinced one of the barbers that was there with me, because I worked there for 6 years. One of the barbers that was there 5 months before me. I convinced him to leave. His name is Kevin. He's my partner today. I pretty much begged him and told him, look, you see I got my life together over the years. I don't get in trouble anymore. I've stayed sober. I won't let you down. This is our opportunity to become who we want to be. At that shop, we kind of felt like we hit the top. There was nowhere, there wasn't any more to grow. They didn't believe in doing appointments. There was just a lot of things that I couldn't, as a professional. At the end of the day, we were much more passionate than the son of the barbershop. And it just made it difficult for us to really grow in this incredible industry, as you know. We opened as Monarchs Cut and Shave, and within about 13 months, we realized the partners that we had were not going to be healthy. It's not going to be a healthy relationship. One of them was stealing from the business. I had track record of it.
The partner, you mean like the financial
business
side?
partner, yeah.
Yeah, the business partner.
Yeah, he was dabbling in the financials and using it to his wants. And when I approached the other partner about that issue, he blew me off, took loyalty to the guy that was stealing. So I said, I worked way too hard to be where I'm at in this business. I see you're passionate about barbering, but you're not understanding that barbering is just more than just giving a good haircut. He's stealing and I have payroll. And I got a hold of my attorneys and we took care of that. And we settled with them, got them out of the business within 2 months, gave them the name, and we rebranded. My wife threw the idea out, Nobleman's Cut and Shave. You know, at this time, we were doing a lot of outreach, community work. We did work with the Boys and Girls Club for back-to-school cuts. And I would do homeless outreach from time to time. For many years, I always did. But what better way to bring that name to fruition with partnering with a bunch of guys in the community that are passionate about cutting hair and that do a lot of outreach work? We're Noblemen. And we launched that Nobleman's Cut and Shave, and it just took off from there. We've been very successful ever since.
Before you continue, let me see if I understood. So when you opened your first shop, you left Joe's, you worked in a place for a month. You had 2 partners and yourself in this barber shop you opened, right?
I had 3 partners.
Plus you.
Plus me, so it was a total of 4 of us.
And how did you find those partners? How was that?
So I found the partners. One was my mentor in a way. Kevin, who's my partner today, is the one that really told me, look, just pay attention to what I'm doing. You're going to succeed. Because when I was at Joe's, they were ready to fire me. The son was going to fire me because my techniques weren't qualified. They weren't up to par, which I understand. And I was in fear because at that time, I was living off a food stamp card. And I was closet drinking. I was drinking beer in the closet. I was very depressed. I had nothing going for me. If I lost that job, I'd be homeless again. And I looked at Kevin. I said, "Please, man, what am I doing wrong? Like, help me out. I'm not going to waste your time. I want this." And I just watched him, and one day it just clicked. And I'm very passionate about holding a pair of clippers in my hand. Why? Because it saved my life, along with Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, I didn't have to go and resort to what I knew growing up to survive anymore. I had a new weapon that wasn't going to hurt people. It was going to help people. It was going to make people feel good about themselves. And I didn't have to look over my shoulder anymore, running from the law, because I cut hair. I'm a barber. And it felt great. He was one of my partners. Sorry if I dabble in too much. I don't share my story too much.
It's a very interesting story. Keep it going.
I've battled over the years of sharing it since I started becoming outspoken about it, because there's a lot of like things that in my story that I've always was concerned that people would judge me on it and not see me for me. But I'm past caring about that, because my actions stand for everything I do. Every day when I wake up, I'm the same person I am the day before.
Were you afraid that people wouldn't trust you because of your past?
Yeah, I was afraid they wouldn't trust me. They would try to beat down my character and decredit me, and really ruin my image. But I got past that really quick, because your image is only ruined by you to a certain extent. If you're doing the right thing in life, you got nothing to worry about. And that's part of my sobriety. I believe in every day when I wake up, as long as I make the next right choice, I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to stay sober, and I'm going to be successful, and my children will never have to see me suffer. They'll never have to see the side of me that they never seen before under the influence. Those other 2 partners came from, one was an entrepreneur who was actually a client of mine. who I thought was legit, he was actually the one that started stealing. And he had a client of his clothing store that was the other partner that that we had to get rid of.
Would you say you got partners because you didn't have the money to start a business, so you felt like, how I'm going to start a business if I don't have the money? Then you found partners or more emotional support, like, I don't know how to do it. This guy is a business owner. This guy has knowledge. Were more financial or emotional insecurity?
It was, so at the time I didn't have all the money to start it, but I could have obtained that through other people that I know. It did help knowing that they have it as well. But I really looked up to this guy because he was an entrepreneur with a business already on a main strip in Fort Lauderdale, Los Olos Boulevard. He's got a successful clothing business. I'm like, what better way? And then his buddy, who was his partner, was always very passionate about barbering, and I admired that about him because he wasn't even a barber. He wanted to go to barber school so bad, which he did to this day. So I thought it was just going to be a great fit. I was like, wow, man, this is really cool how things are aligning. And at this time, when I left Joe's Barbershop, it was very difficult because my wife was 6 months pregnant. And I was scared, man. I was very scared. So what I used to do is I would cut hair on the week on Sundays at drug and alcohol treatment centers for like $10 a cut. I was giving the facility a discount because I felt that was part of my service in recovery. In sobriety, you always got to provide service. It's you don't have to, but it's known that, you know, it's part of your program. It's part of your principles and traditions to keep those alive. Continue doing service work because it would keep you grounded. And as an addict, I identify with that, and it's true. For me, it works. When I had the disagreement with the son of the barbershop at Joe's, my stuff was already packed because I was going to that treatment center that following day. So I grabbed my clippers and never looked back. Unfortunately, things were said on his behalf to me, which put me in complete shock because it was very hurtful. Like I would still be working there to this day probably if that never happened because I was that much appreciative of what they did for me in teaching me the industry, teaching me things.
Once you broke with the partners of that year, you struggle for that year? Like
no,
by
man.
doing by yourself, or you grow?
Oh, no. When those two left and it was just me and Kevin, it blew up. It skyrocketed. You know, we're a very busy shop in downtown. I do a lot of networking. I have a lot of friends that live around there. We get a lot of support. We do a lot of community outreach work. And one thing that I told my business partner, Kevin, when we first opened, that I want to make sure we do here is I want to make sure we network. I want to make sure that when people come into this shop, they feel at home. I don't want them to come in and they feel like, where are they at? I want them to come in and talk about what they're doing, what they may look for, what they need, if they need help with anything in their job. I want to introduce them to somebody. Maybe that client in the other chair is a developer, and my other client over here is a realtor, and he needs a developer to do a project. I wanted to build that type of energy in the shop because I feel it's important to be the cornerstone of a community, and it worked. And a lot of people, you know, they bought in, they support us. They love coming there. They get a free beer while they're in there. And it's about that experience. And when we got rid of those other two guys, we really knuckled down and focused on the customer service side of barbering and providing that experience that makes that customer want to come back. But not only want to come back, tell their friend, hey, you got to come with me, or hey, you got to check this place out.
I think we have this power in our hands that having so many connections and kind of we helping each other to connect. So, Greg, how many chairs you have there right now?
So right now I have 8 chairs, and we're moving to another building on June 1st will be open, and we'll have nine chairs.
Okay, so you're moving, so that one is not gonna exist, and then you're gonna have.
Yeah, so where we're at now, they're getting ready to level the whole street. They're bringing in a massive project that they're building, which is it's amazing, but at the same time, it's kind of sour in my heart because I feel like the character and culture of that community is being shredded down a little bit because it's an old warehouse district.
So you're not moving because you want. You have to move.
We have to.
Wow. And then you're building a new shop in a new location? And
Yeah,
then you're
which is
adding more
about
chairs.
which is about 5 blocks away,
Okay.
which got the same vibe, same element. Another revitalized old warehouse building.
How you looking at that? Like moving, this thing comes up right now. How you look at as an opportunity to grow? Look at the other side, like it's a good thing, or
Yeah, I'm very positive. I look at this as an opportunity where not only have I learned a lot since moving, I'm also in real estate. So me being able to apply my knowledge in real estate and use it has been very joyful because I'm able to say, okay, this made sense for me to get my GED and get a real estate license because now I'm understanding different levels to this. You know, I'm not going to somebody else and relying on their expertise to get me the terms and everything I need. And it's a bigger shop.
when do you decide to take a real estate license and why?
So in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I looked at my wife and I said, all right, obviously we got a problem here. There's a virus out there, but I can't sit here and not grow. She thought I was crazy. I said, I'm going to do the online real estate course. And like you mentioned before, we have, as barbers, we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of contacts. We have a lot of people that rely on us. So I knew I have a big network. You know, I cut a lot of football players and athletes. And I'm like, what better way to learn something and really master this? And I love real estate. Like, I want to build buildings. Like, I love it that much. So during the pandemic, we couldn't cut hair. Shop was closed for 2 months. I said, I'm going to do the course. I started doing the course, got back to work, didn't finish the course yet, got back to work. And in the end of 2020, I had right shoulder surgery. During that time, I was out of work for 6 weeks. I said, I'm going to finish this course. I finished the course, and then I called a young man that was one of my clients who was a junior in high school at Pinecrest High School. I had been cutting his hair since he was 4 years old. I said, I want you to tutor me. I need my GED. He says, I will. But before he did that, I went and sat in at one of the school centers for 3 days and did practice tests, pre-tests, and so on. And then I stopped because I found out that I can do it online. So I had him tutor me for the next couple, like 2.5, 3 weeks. And I had one of my other clients who's a school teacher tutor me. And then I just went at it. And I ended up getting my GED within like that month, which was very difficult, but it was something that I wanted. And I'll be honest, it was the hardest thing I've ever done because I stopped fully understanding schoolwork in 7th grade. I was in ESE classes. I was pumped with a bunch of medication since I was 7 years old when I was first Baker acted. So, like, I missed out on a lot of education that would have helped me understand things. I just didn't. I lacked a lot. And to be able to achieve that, dude, it was the best.
You spoke about the GED, right? There's a statistic that the highest degree a barber have is a high school diploma. But in the other side, we are all artists, and how much we can contribute with the community, and how much you can grow within being a barber. Like I'm gonna give you an example. Myself barbering gave me everything I have, things that I never had in my life. Barbering gave me everything I have.
It's beautiful.
Right? And about your shoulder surgery. You explained to me outside what happened. So it's a lot of repetition in the same shoulder, in the same position as a barber and as a cooker. You were cooking. I had the same problem with this shoulder. I think in here I had a little bit of pain here because I was doing blow dry. Like I was explaining, I have a background as a cosmetologist. I was doing blow dry and cutting hair all day. So there's a lot of barber has pain, back pains and shoulder pains because of the repetition. Did that happen the same thing with you? You feel like because of barbering and because of your cooking, because you're flipping food with the pans?
Yeah, just like you said, over time, the wear and tear of the repetition, and also of me not being aware of proper posture, certain techniques that I can do that can prevent that. One of the things I do now for the last couple of years, actually, it's probably been 6 years, I don't cut hair with heavy equipment. I don't use Andis Masters and the cordless BTRs and stuff like I used to use because I don't want carpal tunnel. I don't want heavy equipment that's going to make me work harder to perfect the job. And then 10 years from now, I'm going to be hurting from it.
Yes.
One thing we do at Tico's workshops, he spends a lot of time talking about body posture,
hand posture, how to use your tools correctly so you can never injure yourself. So it helped me a lot because since I learned that, now I can teach others. It did help me with my shoulder, help with my back, and also I'm doing Pilates. Pilates, it does help with the core and the core
great.
sustain everything else. So I do Pilates. My wife, she dragged me to the
And
Pilates.
it's hard.
It is really hard. Even bodybuilders cannot do it because it's about strength, the core strength.
You use your body weight and it has no impact on your joints. But if you're too heavy, it makes it more challenging because you use your body weight and you use the resistance. So it's hard, but it's really good for you.
You ever heard
For your
about
body.
Viral Sassoon?
No.
Viral Sassoon is the creator of the geometric, como é que fala? Geometria? Geometric hair cutting. You know, the form is also the triangular form, like square, rounded. And because of reading his book and listening to his journey, he used to do Pilates for more than 30 years of his life. But now let's talk about your product, how you came up, like your wife helped with the name. So what is the first thing came to your mind? You wanted to have your own product with your own name. You bring this beautiful logo.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Noble.
So yeah, my
Thank
wife.
you for the gift.
Absolutely. My wife.
Smell good.
My wife helped me made my partner come up with the name Nobleman's Cut and Shave, and I just felt like, man, what way to, brand this around what I do for work. This is who I am. This is what I do. I believe in, being noble, being kind, loving. Thank you. We're actually revitalizing the formula slightly because we want to make it just a little bit more pliable.
It spreads well.
But I'm selling a lot of it. I'm pretty I'm pretty stoked.
This line of work, like having your own product, is a profitable business?
It's very profitable, but you lose a lot in the very beginning.
Meaning what?
You lose a lot of money. You
mean you have to invest a lot of money?
You have to invest a lot, but you're gonna lose a lot up front. But that's what creates the scaling of the brand. For instance, I'm on Amazon as well. I sell a lot on Amazon now. I'm under 90 days on Amazon, and I'm getting ready to hit 1,000 units sold.
Wow.
In under 90 days.
Amazing.
But I haven't profited yet. I start profiting at the end of the month.
So,
because there's so much advertising dollars, marketing, keywords, ranking. There's so much dollars that need to be accounted for that got to go in certain places to get your brand the awareness that it needs before it starts to grow. I'm not saying that anybody that creates a product, that's what will happen to them, because that's not the case. It's different for everybody. Some people have bigger networks than I do within the industry where they can come out the gate right away and start selling wholesale pricing to barbershops. That takes some of the offload off them from the social media ads that aren't converting. Those acquisitions aren't converting over. So sometimes you might spend a lot of dollars on social media marketing, but it's not converting over. You're going to take months before you figure out, okay, this system is working. Now let's fund that ad. Let's fund this area. But other than that, I mean, it's very profitable. If you're passionate about this and you want to do that, it will work.
What is your goal with the product? Like putting all big stores or just selling it in your shop?
Do you want to sell to the consumer, or do you want to sell to barber shops, or do you want to put your product as, let's say, Pacino's? He's a target. So what's your goal with your product?
Big ups to Pacino's. It's been awesome pretty much over the last couple of years watching what he was able to do. I remember when he first launched that product. I would love to be a Target one day. Absolutely. My main goal is to be able to provide a product to the consumer at a quality product with a good price. Right now, I just want to stick with Amazon and e-commerce, direct to consumer. My personal input and thought process behind going to all these stores, they start really knocking you down. I can't afford to pay what they want, and then if it doesn't sell through, you got to buy all that product back. That could cripple a company. My biggest thing is Amazon. I have the best Amazon team put together through friends of mine, Sean and Chris. Thanks if you listen to this.
You will.
They have a marketing company. They have an Amazon team built out within their marketing company. They sell supplements online. They're massive, and they gave me the contacts, man, and it's skyrocketing. And I have a business partner on this product line as well. His name is Ian, and he's been incredible. I've learned a lot from Ian alone. He's got a product innovation background and a marketing background with an MBA from the University of Miami. He moved down to South Florida with his husband right before COVID hit, and we connected right after the they let us back to cutting hair. He came in my shop because he seen me on the news. This product, my goal with this product is by the end of the year, I want to have 3 more SKUs. When I say SKUs, I'm sure you guys know what it is, but for anyone out there listening that doesn't, it's more products. So I want to have a cream, I want to have a hair gel, a body wash, and I also want to have a hairspray.
Did you develop, so this one, it was your creation?
My creation with a chemist sitting down, going over formulas, taking surfactants and detergents in and out, trying to create that hold. Like I said, I'm working now with a new chemist. We're working on reformulating that just to make it a little bit more pliable. It is a very dense product. Some of the feedback we do get, which I am aware, you do have to emulsify it pretty good in the palms of your hand before you apply it, or it doesn't work as well. It might come on as clunks. I want to try to see the best way I can get rid of that, but man, I'm not having a problem selling it like it is. Everyone's loving it. My barbers are liking it. It washes out very easily because it's water-based. Another thing that I think is very important, I don't want my client to go home and struggle to get this out of their hair. Not throwing shade at the products that make it hard to come out, because it's for everyone, you know? Some people like that.
But the feedback is the best, because then you can improve and change.
Yes.
Some change. What about selling inside your shop with your barbers? They are like willing to sell, and how do you kind of reward them for whatever they sell? How it works?
So it's funny you ask, because I was just speaking to my business partner Ian on this topic, and me and Kevin, my business partner from the barbershop, have spoke about this before. When we roll over to the new shop June 1st, we're implementing a new system for my barbers where they will make commission off every unit they sell. But I haven't had a hard time. They sell it. They sell it without asking for anything, and they want to see me succeed. A lot of the guys, all my guys, what am I saying a lot? All my guys that work for me are very supportive of anything that I ever do.
You mean that you're a great leader?
Yes.
I appreciate that. I try. I try to just do what I would ask them to do. Like, I would never put them in a position. I don't chase money. I would never, and it's happened a couple times. I've shocked a couple barbers where they were like, "Wow," but I've literally told clients to get out of my shop.
The teacher,
I don't want your business because they mistreated my barbers, and it's like, we're professionals. Treat us like a decent human being, you know?
respect everybody.
Exactly. And I think that's shown a lot to my barbers too, that hey, my boss is a good guy. He's gonna fight for me if I need to.
That's great, man. One thing that I have to say is about being a good leader. The teacher only stands out whenever their students are ready. You ever heard that quote?
No, but I like it.
That's when you're teaching, you only like get the glory whenever the students are ready. That's the saying in my other side of the teaching in education. Mr. Greg, talk to me more about your foundation that you have, the Backpack Barber.
Yeah.
How did everything started?
So obviously you heard my story over the time being here, and I was homeless on and off throughout the years. I didn't go in full detail about every single subject that happened, or we'd be here for days. But I was homeless multiple times. And when I opened my shop in 2016, after my partners, we got rid of those two gentlemen and we rebranded, I knew I had the platform that I wanted that was going to allow me to go out and do community outreach work. And I didn't have to worry about surviving and providing for my family because I'm a worker. I'm going to hustle, I'm going to grind, and I'm going to be a dog in anything that I do because I believe in working for what you want. So I went out and I just started doing homeless outreach haircuts, and it allowed me to create who I am with the foundation through the Backpack Barber Foundation. I would take my backpack with my clippers and a couple hygiene items and a snack and water, and I would go wake guys up in the alleys and certain areas where I know that there was a large population of homeless, and I would get out there with them and, share some testimony, share my experience, strength, and hope through life of what I experienced and how I was able to overcome it. And most importantly, look them in their face and tell them, hey, I love you. If nobody tells you they love you today, Greg the Barber loves you, baby, because you deserve to be loved. And it just started to come together with my clients. I had a couple clients tell me, Greg, what are you doing? You should create an organization. Like, you can really reach more people. You can do more. You can help more people. And, dude, I was like, absolutely. Like, I'm financially good with my barbershop. Like, I'm making good. I'm making over $100,000 a year. I'm able to provide for my wife to be a stay-at-home mom, to be there for the kids, and I can go and do this. And it just took off. And I just started having people volunteering. Hey, how can I help? Can I get involved? And then how do I say it? We after about a year and a half, we reprogrammed everything with the board. We did like a fresh start. And today we got great people in their position on the board that we plan to make a big difference in communities to come for the next couple of years. My whole goal is, proceeds of the profits of this business go towards my foundation to help it grow. My goal is to build chapters in different cities and different states where other professionals in the hair industry can go and provide services on behalf of the Backpack Barber Foundation. So they can be volunteers of my organization in communities where there's poverty, heavy poverty, underprivileged youth. There's so many areas that we can make an impact outside of the barbershop with the gift that God gave us. And that's something that I really wanted to instill in the world. That's something that I really wanted to bring to fruition because we're blessed every day to pick up a pair of clippers and make someone else feel incredible. To make someone feel good, you're dealing with their emotions. I get to go cut someone's hair that I don't know, and they don't got to pay me anything. My whole goal in life is to be able to provide enough streams of income with my product line, my real estate, where it's passive enough to where I can then say, I don't need to cut hair every day for the citizens of my community anymore. I get to cut hair for people that don't give me anything in return because they don't need to.
Yeah,
Wow.
me too.
I want to say something. First, I'm so sorry you had to go through all that. No child should, have to go through something like you had to go through your
Thank you.
early, when you're so young, you had to, go through crazy stuff. You're supposed to be loved and protected, and you were not. But at the same time, if it wasn't for these horrific things that happened to you, you wouldn't be there. You wouldn't care about people that are homeless. Because you experienced it yourself, I think God had a plan for you. This guy is going to go through this, but at the end, he's going to make a difference so other people won't suffer what he had to suffer. So I would say, even though I'm so sorry you had to go through that, now seeing where you are now, do you regret having to go through so much pain, or you feel like it was meant to be?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't regret a thing. I don't. Look, there was some very dark nights where I didn't think there would be a bright morning. There were some times where I was close to dying or taking my own life, but I would go back and live those situations over again because I'm happy with the man that I've become and who I've become. I'm grateful for those trials and tribulations that I went through because it's taught me so much. One of the main reasons why I wanted to become a barber too was the fact that I grew up so fucked up and missed out on so many opportunities with learning and education and understanding and going through classes at ESC and being on medication where it was harder for me to learn and understand some things as the classroom was going on. I was falling further and further behind. I knew that if I became a barber, every person that sat in my chair, I got to pick their brain and I got to learn and grow. I mean, I remember watching television and seeing the stock market on the bottom screen. It would go by, and I never understood any of that. I was always like, what is this? And now I have a retirement plan put together. I have stocks. I watch it. I monitor it. I'm addicted to it. Like, it's things like that, real estate, understanding just things outside of that street life, that thug life mentality, what this industry was able to give me and still does. I couldn't say thank you enough. Like, it's mind blowing.
And now you're transforming other people's lives through your terrible experiences. You could maybe not be here. You could be dead. You could be still addicted, but you decided, no, I want to help people. I mean, you're the first barber I know that has a foundation to help other people through cutting hair that is really serious about. But I don't think you would be serious about if you haven't lived through all this hell that you had to do. How is your relationship with your parents now? After you overcame everything, you're successful, you're a father, you're a business owner. How is your relationship with them? Is it better?
No.
No?
So you're probably right. I don't know if I would be the mindset. I don't think I would be in the mindset that I'm at. With the Backpack Barber Foundation, through those life experiences, it really opens you up to, non-judging, not saying you have to go through that to be this, because I have a lot of friends that contribute to the foundation in many different ways that grew up wealthy, sheltered, no problems, good education. But I agree with you. I don't know if I would be I don't think I would be this devoted, this motivated to making an impact in someone's life. Unfortunately, my mother, I haven't spoken to my mother in seven and a half years, I want to say. My mother's an active addict who's never really had the best interest for me, who's always put me in tough situations. I'm better off. Unfortunately, some people won't agree with me on that. Some people say, oh, that's your mother. You got to find ways. Let me tell you something. Until you met my mother, you wouldn't say that. And
but I'm glad you didn't repeat the cycle with your kids, because you could be just repeating what she did to you, to your kids, but you're not. You break the cycle, not anymore. And then this won't repeat in your family, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's something that I'm glad that I was able to break, because I mean, like my father, I have a relationship with him, but it's not it's gone really downhill once I got my life together, which was really mind-blowing. I got sober and I started to become successful and love myself, and I felt like he distanced once I did that even further. And I was never really close with him anyway. I love him. He's my father. He tried at times of his life to teach me some things, but I would never let my kids go through what him and my mother allowed me to go through, or put me through what they put me through. My children are my world. My kids will never have to see me at my worst, ever. And I strive and live by that every day, of that, doing the next right thing, just so that never happens. Because my kids, like, I would die right now just for my kids. Like, they are amazing. My daughter just lights up the room. My son is just the most genuine, sweetest boy you can meet, like, caring. And that's because my wife and I are always on top of spreading love. Always. I tell my kids 100 times a day I love them. But I'm on top of them too. I'm disciplined. I'm structured. But my kids know that when they go to bed at night, I'm gonna come check on them a couple times and love on them, and it's the best feeling being a dad.
You're giving them the love that you never had, right, from your parents. Especially your wife. You said she came from a broken home too, and both of you being.
No, she came from a very sheltered home. So
sorry. So was the girlfriend before your wife, right?
Yeah.
That you mentioned that she came from a broken home too.
No, never that. I probably said it wrong.
You said something about shelter.
Yeah, she's been like sheltered, like she's been raised very well.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So,
sorry, I misunderstood.
It's okay.
I understood the complete opposite.
Yeah,
I'm
you can
so
see it
sorry.
a different way too.
Yeah.
she's my wife has been raised by an incredible family, all the way down to her aunts, her cousins, her parents, and I'm very grateful to be a part of that family, because I don't really have family outside of them.
That's your family.
I have family members, but I don't even really know them, because I left there, and they're all in the Northeast. I left there when I was 8. It was either 8 or 9 years old. And like I said, man, ever since I got sober and got my life together, I feel like that jealousy card came out of a lot of people's pockets towards me. And it's like, what about me not wanting to die anymore, and not being in jail? And I love myself. Why don't you love me? Why aren't you happy for that? And the last probably 10 months, I gave up caring anymore what those people think anymore.
Maybe they're too attached to your past and they can deal with the new person you became. Maybe they're still seeing you as a bad person because of the bad choices you made, or because of the bad things you put them through, because you're irresponsible and you hurt them in some ways, and they're too attached to that.
Could be, but the more you grow, the more you're successful in life, the more haters you're gonna brought to.
And that's the truth.
You see that on social media right now. The more successful you are, the more haters will pop out.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Going further, what are the examples you can give to me that, because let me explain. I'm a barber, I'm cutting hair, and sometimes, if most of barbers are not generally saying, but we cutting hair, we just making our money and thinking about ourselves. How barbers can contribute with the community, how barbers can help other people? How? Give me some examples. But I'm asking you because you have so many, you know.
Thank you. I'm blessed being a barber. I'm very, I'm blessed. I'm lucky to be the person that I am in the profession that I am because, like we spoke about earlier, we have huge networks. We have clients that come through our doors every day from all walks of life. I always try to find out, hey, what do you do for work? Not because I'm going to judge you off your job, but because I'm just curious. Is there a way that I can help bring you business? Is there a way that I can network with you to help you in your road to success on what you're doing in life? I like to meet with my clients and have coffee outside of work sometimes. I've joined networking groups within the community that my business was in, and it helped me grow my brand more with other professionals, whether it was an insurance agent, realtors, bankers, whatnot. It helped me also understand public speaking a little more because you got to get up in front of a room full of professionals. But it allowed me to embrace the professional side of my career. And I think that's an area that a lot of barbers, if they experience with our barbershop owners, it can bring a lot of positive impact within the community to your establishment, and it allows you to help other business owners succeed, and they do the same for you.
Good example. Have any question, babe? You cutting famous people now. So how was that for you? How you can get to these people, find them? How they came to you? It was a networking thing, or
some of them come to me over time. I'm passionate about cutting hair and that client relationship, and I'm a diehard sports fan. And it just started to, after one guy and clients of mine referring me out, people that are tied in with the organization, personnels within certain organizations referring me to guys that are newly with the team or that are looking for someone, all the way down to guys seeing stuff on Twitter and guys in executive positions calling me and saying, hey, shoot this guy a message. He's coming into town for a visit. He's going to need to get cleaned up. It's on Twitter. Stuff like that, and just it going around. It's been a little weird in that industry. I've had some guys really take me in and really show me a lot of love. Like super loyal to me, just me. I'm the only one cutting their hair. Trusting me to come to their home. And then I've had guys where, yeah, I'll cut you for a little while, and then they don't ask one question about the foundation, the product, nothing. And it's just like, wow. It hurts at times because it's like, man, you have such a level of opportunity that could help me help others. It's not about helping me help my pocket. It's about me helping others just through my organization. And it's like, how do you say that to them? Like, hey, you don't, because it's I don't want to step out of line and out of character with these individuals because it's that client relationship. But a lot of them, I got a handful of them that chat with me about this stuff. I'll send them a product here and there. They'll buy it, and we leave it at that. They're busy. They got their own things going on. They don't have time to get involved with the foundation, and I respect that. I totally do. I have great conversations with them whenever they're in the shop or when I'm at their home, and it's like, to me, that's enough. Like, there's things I can learn from these individuals as well. So,
how you thinking about the future? How you want to grow more your business, meaning the barbershop?
My goal is to really scale this product line to where I can then venture off a little bit more into doing more philanthropy work while also having my barbershop. Obviously, I have a business partner, so we would structure things more in line with when I'm there and when I'm not. but I'm really looking forward and excited for the new launch of the new shop because it's bigger. And I'm going to have my office in the back that'll be closed off from the shop. So I'll be able to do a lot of my work right there and then come right back out to cutting. I'm just looking forward to making an impact in the community more than what we have.
Now with this chat and the conversation, man, I admire you more because you went deep in your journey. You share your story. It did impact me. We also, in a pandemic, me and my wife, we went to the homeless shelter and we're helping taking care of them, you know.
Nice.
And I want to engage more my guys to do that.
I think you inspire people to be more proactive in doing social work because we can help so many people in ways that sometimes people think helping means I should give you money for your project. But no, you can be a volunteer. Maybe you can donate hygiene products or clothes because you're dealing with homelessness. And they need deodorant. I remember when we went to the shelter, the barbershop was closed and we were fully dedicated to do philanthropy. And man, they don't have towels to take shower. They were desperate for underwear because usually people don't donate underwear. It's something so simple that we have and we don't think about it. But for them, it's a big thing. A toothpaste is a big thing for them.
Yes. And a lot of times you can just volunteer. Like you guys said, you guys went and just volunteered your time, your effort. You're there. That could be so effective. I've had people. I've had a couple people. Two of them I haven't spoke to since grade school. Message me and talk about what I'm doing and say, "Hey, I'm pretty sure you're probably liked by a lot and then hated by some people. Don't listen to any of those haters." Because what you're doing is huge. And I'm a very sensitive guy. It's something that's always troubled me over the years, all the way going from being in the street life, ticking time bomb, very sensitive. I'll never understand why I have haters for doing what I'm doing on the nonprofit side. I funded this whole thing myself. I don't take a salary. There's no money going out. Everybody that's on my board is volunteer. And I have people out there that hate on me, and you could see it. You could feel the energy, especially when you're in their presence. And some of them don't know that I know, but it's just like, you know, it fuels me more, but it's heartbreaking knowing that I'm just doing what I know. I feel this is my calling. I don't know. This is where my story brought me. I didn't sit back and pick and choose and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make all this happen right now. No, this came. This popped in my heart, my mind, and I'm a firm believer, 100%. This is what God wants me to do. Or like you said before, I wouldn't have went through everything that I went through to understand now how to handle it. You could put me out there in the roughest parts. I'm going to break those barriers down. And I'm going to have guys giving me hugs and really talking about what their life is and what they went through and trusting me. And I've had board members who are attorneys in the past and to this day that have said it to me, that are like, wow, man, you really, you handle it like you know what you're doing out there. It's because, man, I know what they're going through. I was out here before. I know what it's like to have nothing.
You know their feeling, how they feel.
I think you found your purpose. And once you find your purpose,
I'm very grateful for that. Like, I'm very to understand how to survive in that lifestyle is very difficult. You basically, when you're living on the street, man, you can't have hope. Hope it gets you killed. Hope it gets you put in bad situations out there. And I don't like that. I try to stop that. I want guys to walk away with some hope and dignity that they can get out of that situation. Like every week I do haircuts at Community Court, which is in downtown Fort Lauderdale, where they have an opportunity to come off the streets and go into detox, county detox. Judge Flo will put them in there that day.
What about the a homeless become a barber? Did you ever turn someone in? to become a barber?
No, I've never done that. I've thought about that in the past. We have some things lined up, that goals of mine through the foundation. Eventually, I would like to be able to scholarship guys into school. But it's very difficult because the relapse rate and everything, you have to do things strategically, because if we're going to use money that's brought in by donors to make someone's life better, we got to make sure that they have a plan put in place too that's going to help them really reach that goal that they want. And that's one of them, is to be able to scholarship for trades. And one of them, the first thing I would like to be is a barber program. But it's difficult. We have some success stories of guys and girls getting off the street and getting clean and really living a fulfilled life. And then we have some that aren't as successful to talk about. But that doesn't stop us from really continuing trying to make an impact. It's difficult, man. It's really hard to get up day after day and week after week and try to build. I don't know much about nonprofit. I learn weekly. I learn through research, reading. But I'm not a powerhouse. I'm just a barber entrepreneur trying to make an impact. I wish I had some of the resources that some of the organizations out there that have, that allow them to, that give them more strength as an organization. Right now, it's just a bunch of us, guys and girls, trying to make a difference in our community by volunteering our time and hours outside of work.
There is a program, a scholarship, which is provided by JMI and Jim Moran, the dealership.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they provide this program for free. You have to win a scholarship, meaning you can pay to be there. They have every semester, and it's a really good program where they have for-profit business and also non-profit business, where they teach you how to handle the whole thing. And I learned in this scholarship. I'm still in the program. I'm going to graduate in 2 months.
Wow.
I will give you the content so you can apply. And I learned that actually running a non-profit, it's like running a business in a sense, but there's a lot of different regulations. So it's not easy. People think it's easy, but it's not.
Super
so I feel
hard.
your struggle, because everything we're learning, and sometimes they give examples how non-profits should behave, what they should do. Oh my God, it's so difficult. You must struggle every day how to deal with all that. It's even harder than running a business.
Well, think about it. You're relying on
Donors.
donors, and you're relying on
Grants.
other individuals that are volunteering their time to serve the same mission that you believe strongly about. So it's hard. How do you go to those individuals when you're needing things and you're looking for results, but at the same time, they're still working hard? That's been one of my biggest problems. I'm a super workaholic. So I have to channel my passion sometimes, because if not, I could speak wrongly when I'm asking for something, not meaning any harm. But like I said, that's been the hardest problem, is working with other individuals on the same mission that you believe strongly about, but no one's getting compensated.
Yes.
You'll see a difference from somebody getting paid to somebody not getting paid. And I'm grateful for who we're working with now, my board and stuff. Like we're all on the same page. We all want to see a difference from this organization. We all want to grow chapters in different states. We all want the same cause. We're all serving the same mission. But man, it wasn't like that in the very beginning. It was hard for me. I've lost board members. I've had to tell board members, hey, I'm really sorry, but I can no longer be in communication with you. I'm very hurt by you showed your cards. This isn't about you. This is about the people we're serving that are living in the street. Those young kids that are living in poverty-stricken neighborhoods, that are underprivileged, that don't have much. That's who this is about, not about you. And you sign up when you do this. You're not forced to do this. You're agreeing that you're going to give this much effort into what you're doing. That's been the hardest part. But like I said, I'm very grateful for the guys and girls that we have on our team, on the board now, because they're, like I said, they're all focused. It's tough, but and congratulations to you for doing that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually won a scholarship, so I received the information by email about this opportunity, and I always jump in opportunities. And it's a program that we go twice a month, and then they teach us how to be better business owners in all aspects. So I'm having classes about everything: accountant, HR, marketing, so many things, leadership.
Wow.
And they have for nonprofit. They separate for profit from nonprofit. So I will give you the information.
Yeah, I would love
think
that.
And I think they'll love to have you there because you fill out an application, you tell your story, and then they select whatever number of people they can have in each class. They do every semester. They even provide us like free lunch, free breakfast, free graduation party, all sponsored by JM, which is Jim Moran. He's not
From JM Lexus, yeah.
He's not here anymore. He passed away, but his family decided to continue this program, and he has been helping so many business owners. So I'm very grateful to
That's
be there.
pretty cool.
Yes, I hope you can be on the next group. It will be really helpful for your nonprofit to grow and for you to understand all these little details that are not easy to deal with on your daily basis.
Well, I'll
I can
keep a
imagine
lookout
the
for that
struggles.
email with that information, and
For sure.
I'm really excited to share this with my board.
For sure.
Greg, very inspiring conversation here, man. Thank you so much for coming out. I think this will inspire a lot of people, open their minds. And thank you very much for coming out, man, to the Black Belt Barber podcast. Our idea, too, is the same, is to bring people like you to share your story, share your vision, share your knowledge, information that the people that are listening, they just click and impact and help them, too.
I just want to say one more thing. I want to congratulate you for everything you building.
Thank you
And
so
to
much.
tell you, don't stop because of haters. Don't get upset with people that don't share the vision and the love to help others, because there's many people that are selfish. Maybe they're emotionally broken. We don't know how they were raised or whatever. How was their when they were a child, the values that they learned or they didn't. Like you had parents that didn't teach you those values, and you develop yourself through life. So don't give up. Don't listen to the haters. For sure, it will be hard. Nothing is easy in life. But what you're doing will impact so many people that is worth all that you've been through. Like, it's so worth your hard work, because hundreds, thousands, who knows how many people, what you're doing now, years from now. For instance, Jim Moran, he's not alive anymore. He started this program like 30, 40 years ago. It's impacting my life now.
Still making an
And
impact.
he's not even here. So one day you won't be here. But so many people will be impacted by what you started. So don't give up.
For some time, I used to be bothered. You would see people on social media that you thought were your friends or are your friends or whatnot, and they would share all this stuff about people that they don't even know. Most of them are celebrities or whatnot. For what reason? They're not share my stuff, man. Help me grow. Like they don't even care about you. They don't even know you. Why? That bothered me for a while, but I got past it. Thank you for the kind words. It means a lot, and I'm very grateful that I was able to come here today and finally meet you. And I look forward to building a relationship and getting to know you guys more and really seeing you guys flourish and become very much more successful than what you already have become, because I've heard a lot of great things about you guys within the industry, and I'm very, very thankful to spend this time here today.
Congratulations for everything you do. I'm very happy for who you became. And thank you for coming again. Thank you everybody for our listen and watching. I had here my boy Greg. Greg, do you like to share some information about everything? Could be Instagram, the foundation.
So you can follow us online for the foundation at the backpackbarberfoundation.com, where you can see what we're doing, our story. It gives you an opportunity to volunteer, leave your email, or leave a donation. You can follow us online on Instagram at the Backpack Barber Foundation, as well as Facebook at the Backpack Barber Foundation. And then for the product line, Noble by Greg Young, Instagram and Facebook. My personal Instagram is Greg the Barber 954. And if you want to see my cool shop and follow the change and the transition that we're getting ready to make, it's Nobleman's CS. So Nobleman's CS for cut and shave at Instagram and Facebook.
Guys, follow Greg. He's doing amazing things. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Greg, I wish you success, prosperity, and
thank you
for who are listening and are watching. You guys share. Give it a like, comment here what you guys want to see next. By sharing this video, we can impact other people that need to hear your journey, your story. I wish you success and prosperity, my friend.
Thanks, man.